spotlight. Everything about it was so welcomed, but so unexpected. I'd just been going out and performing, and then I would get spotted by these B-list celebrities or global superstars. Never in a million years did I actually think that I would be where I am today. I always dreamed of it and worked for it, but if I'm being honest, I never thought I would get here, but hey, here I am. Close to the end of my senior year, I got scouted by a record label in Del Soy Valley. Dinky Beats. Floyd Winters messaged me one day, offered to help me produce my own songs, and get my name out into the spotlight. And obviously I agreed. Floyd Winters isn't just anyone, okay? He's the head of Dinky Beats. The head of Dinky Beats wanted me to join his record label. Saying no was not an option, okay? But this also meant that staying behind in Cooperdale wasn't an option. The place I'd grown up and the place that I was leaving behind, it was stressful, and I honestly didn't know how to handle it. So I turned towards smoking all the time. I mean, I would always do it with my friends anyways when I was in school, but now I actively do it all the time. On my own, with others, in public, it doesn't matter. I just need a quick hit to help me relax, and with relaxation comes smoother thoughts, and I finally decided to risk it all. I dropped out of high school 2 months before my graduation, and I dropped out, and I moved to Del Soy Valley. Thankfully, I didn't make this move alone. I was really afraid to go on my own, so I asked Curtis to move in with me. We hadn't been dating for very long. When I asked, probably about 5 months, but he always told me how much he loved me and how much he cared about me, so I knew he would never say no to not, when it came to joining me. And I was right. Did I love Curtis too? Yeah, I did, but not in the way that he loves me. I mean, I love everything about him, if I'm being honest. He's the kindest person I've ever met in my life, besides my dad and maybe Molly. But the idea of sticking to one person feels kind of suffocating. And with my fame rising, people became interested in me. Like, big people. Like Orange Billy Moon. The son of Thorn Billy and Octavia Moon? Yeah. So, whenever Curtis would go to school, I would invite him over here, and the two of us would, we'd hook up. I'll admit, not my brightest idea, but I love the rush. I'd take a hit of my joint, send him a text, asking him to come over, and we would just spend the entire time together while Curtis was gone, and the minute I got a text from Curtis saying that he was on his way back from Copperdale, I would kick Orange out immediately, and, Orange always understood why I would do this, but, he always kind of wanted more from us. But I was just never really into Orange like that. Not romantically like I am with Curtis. With Orange, he was just like a physical attraction. But outside of my personal life, I had to deal with the perks of fame. Paparazzi. I always heard how annoying they could be, but on my rise to fame, I loved it. If I saw a camera, I would pose, embrace the flashes of the light. But, living in Del Soy, that meant there was paparazzi around every corner. Even around the corner of my own house. I would be lying if I said I wasn't getting sick of these people, but, it just comes with being in the spotlight. When I moved to Del Soy, I just became a big lister. So everyone wanted the newest pics and news about me and my career. Well, mainly me. Not my career. But I try to ignore that as much as I can. Mainly by smoking the thoughts away, but that's besides the point. Living this new life with Curtis was great. We smoked together, cooked together, I sang for him. Sometimes he even helps me write lyrics for my songs. It's almost perfect. Besides everything horrible that I'm hiding from him, but what he doesn't know won't hurt him, and I think it's better to keep things that way. After 2 months had passed by, I returned back to Cooperdale for the first time since I moved out. It was graduation day, and I finally got to see all my friends again. It was their graduation day, not mine. Although I was super proud of my friends, it was bittersweet. Seeing Destiny give her valedictorian speech, and then watching everyone go on stage, grab their diploma. Destiny, Curtis, Molly, even Savannah and Sydney. It was hard because all I could think about was how I missed my chance to be up there too. How I could have shook hands with Miss Prescott and grabbed my diploma. But I missed that. I threw it all away to follow my dreams. At that moment, I knew I couldn't stop working hard on my career, because if I ever had any regrets, I would have lost so much and it would all be for nothing. After this day, I turned to smoking even more. All I could think about was the fear of potential regrets. It still consumes my brain more than than I want. And at the beginning, it consumed my brain more than I thought it could. Curtis began to notice how bad my addiction had become and started telling me to jog to clear my emotions. It helps, but not as much as weed, if I'm being honest. I try to stick to jogging as much as possible, but I always end up needing a hit shortly after. Time had passed, and everyone had officially grown up from being teenagers, and we were all now adults. Well, young ones, but still adulthood, okay? Real responsibilities would await. I could no longer use my age as an excuse for my behavior. Being 18 was still young, don't get me wrong, but I feel that the minute your 18th birthday hits, people expect so much from you. Like, 10 times more. One person in particular was Floyd. He wanted more music, more marketing, but also more of me. One day I invited him over to discuss some songs I'd written, and, I'd been wanting to put out my own feature album, and I noticed something was kind of different about him, a different type of interest from him. He had always been genuinely interested in my music, and, he cared about what I had to offer, but, all of a sudden he started to care more about what I had to offer in a different sense. He ended up telling me that I'd grown up to be such a beautiful young woman. God, I was such a sucker to hear things like this. It kind of made me go nuts. He kept flirting with me, and I would accept any advances that he threw my way. I always thought that he was kind of a smoke show, but now he was interested in me as a woman. And I wasn't going to let that opportunity go to waste, so I went along with his flirts, threw in a few of my own, and, things ended up heating up. I knew I would probably end up regretting this, but for now he wanted me, and I honestly wanted him, so I gave in to that intense feeling. Floyd and I ended up hooking up, and that became a frequent thing, just like things had been with Orange, but then Floyd wanted to make things difficult for me. He wanted more commitment. He told me that he wanted me to stop seeing other people. He knew about Curtis, but he also knew about Orange, and I told Floyd that I could give up Orange. I never needed him, but not Curtis. I couldn't give him up. He loved me too much, and I couldn't, I didn't want to hurt him. He gave up everything in Cooperdale to come with me to Delson Valley, so, I can't hurt him like that. And, thankfully, Floyd agreed to let me stay with Curtis as long as, he was the only other guy in my life. I ended up telling Orange that I wanted to end things with him after one last time together. Orange was a little happy, but also disappointed. With Orange, he always wanted more from me, but I could never give it to him. Orange told me he was going to miss me, but being friends with him was, good enough. I was honestly kind of surprised with how well he handled things, but that was kind of one thing I always liked about Orange. He's really chill. Good friend. My fame kept rising the longer I had been sleeping with Floyd, and this led to more fans. More autograph signing and more paparazzi, but also more texts from my mother. Yeah, my mom. After that one day when I was at the lounge with my friends, she kept trying to reach out to me. I never answered because I didn't care to talk to her, but I also never had the heart to block her. She's my mom after all, okay? And a part of me just couldn't let go of the happy memories that I used to have with her. All the ones that I used to have with her when I was a little girl. And one day I decided I was sick and tired of all the texts and calls that I would be getting from her. And I decided to show up to her house. You know, I knew that she still lived at her old place. Not in like a creepy I did research way, but in a thanks to Molly. Because Molly is her neighbor. So I went to Cooperdale just to give it my all, I guess. I hadn't spoken to my mother since I'd left the house and became homeless, so this was a little hard for me, but nothing a joint couldn't help fix. When I showed up, she seemed shocked. Like, when she answered the door, she didn't seem happy to see me, just surprised, maybe even a little annoyed. But then a smile suddenly appeared on her face. One I could tell was fake. You know, it had been over a year since I had last seen my mom, but I remembered how one of her fake smiles looked like. She invited me in. She immediately went into telling me that she was so proud of me for achieving my dreams. How Dad would be so incredibly proud of me. All the positive junk. I'm not gonna lie, I was buying it for a little while. I thought maybe my mother had something nice to say to me all along. But then she said one thing to me that really pissed me off. She told me that she always knew that I could do it. The minute she said that, I flipped out on her. All she would ever say to me was how I could never make it in the music industry. That my goals of becoming famous were a joke. And, you know, that I needed to come back to earth and stop being a dreamer. She kicked me out of the house because she had no faith in me and was so against me following my dreams. You know, hearing her say that she always knew that I could do it was probably the worst and most harmful lie that she could have told me. It was almost heartbreaking to hear a lie like that. All I wanted to hear was an apology. That she was sorry that she ever doubted me. That she had to lie in order to make herself look better. You know, I told her where to go before I stormed out of her house. All she wanted from me was probably some money. Money that I don't even have. You know, even with fame that I have, my house is barely furnished. I can hardly afford living in Del Soy. Even with the good job that Curtis got, some big business company. I always thought that this life would be glitz, glamour, pure happiness, no stress, just pure perfection. But it's so far from it. Honestly, my life has never been as messy as it is right now. I am a horrible person who will do anything for fame. I cheat on my incredible boyfriend with my boss. I'm addicted to marijuana. I struggle for money even though I keep putting out original music. My record company keeps telling me that I'll rack in money, and all of it goes to them. Nothing is going right, but it's all my fault. I'm the one to blame, but, you know, I'm too far gone. I'm not happy with the life that I have at all. But I just don't know what to do anymore. I miss my old life. You know, the one before I became a B-lister. The one where I was still living in Cooperdale. The one before my dad passed away. I miss my dad. I want him back. I think if he was still here, all the bad stuff that I'm dealing with just wouldn't be happening. I don't know. Just, I guess because he always knew how to make me feel better. He knew how to handle anything. And now that he's gone, everything's different. But, hey, that's life, I guess. My life, at least. My life. My life in the spotlight.